What's up, guys? Welcome to the Real Agent Show, where we interview real agents making a real difference in their community and the real estate industry. With me, we've got Randy Carroll, Strategic Partner and Channel Manager for Chime Technologies. Randy's on the front lines of the real estate industry tech space and has a background in broadcast and electronic media. Today, we're chatting with Jason Simard up in Nanaimo, Canada. Jason is the owner and founder of the Sims Real Estate Group and Sims Coaching Systems. We're talking with Jason about how he started his team and how he's grown one of the most successful client care models in the business. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm sorry, I've got a sideways hat. I'm looking all casual. This is kind of life the last 2 months. I don't think I've worn a suit in 2 months with this whole COVID thing. So my apologies, but this is what you're getting today.
Yeah, this is life in quarantine.
I was gonna say, those of us that know you, seeing you not in a suit is kind of strange. I don't know if I've ever seen you wear a t-shirt. Like, that's not a joke.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a secret. Like, as soon as I get home, I put on a t-shirt and shorts or something, and I just like love to dress casually. So yeah. Living in a suit is not a place that I love being.
We get to see the other side of Jason Simard right now, and I'm loving this.
People tell me I look a lot younger with this look that I'm going with right now.
I was going to say, dude, I'm
getting a Blink-182 type feel from this.
Right?
This is the fourth member of the band.
I have to laugh because we've got Jason, t-shirt and a hat, Randy, t-shirt, backward hat, got the hair going.
Snapback.
Then there's me, the guy that's about as casual as all three of us on here, and I'm wearing a polo shirt. Like, there is a problem here.
Is your shirt pink? Looks pink.
It is pink. Of course it's pink. Why would I do anything different? Okay, so first things first, Jason, how long have you been in real estate?
So I started in November 2015. So that's when I started in the real estate space. I was broke at the time, been through a divorce, went through some tough times. But I came in with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, and my back against the wall. So, you know, my story is a little different than most, but I came in with a plan to build a business and exit production within 5 years. Well,
which you did. I should probably mention you did that.
I did it in 3.5 years. So, you know, I'm pretty grateful I was able to do it sooner than planned and expected. And, you know, very blessed. It's been an amazing business for me and my family, and really been so much fun helping others, you know, create financial freedom for themselves. It's kind of one of my obsessions.
Can I ask where that business background came from? Because I think a lot of agents enter into this business not treating it like a business, but you from day one decided this is a business that I'm going to build and I'm going to exit.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
So Randy, there's two hats that you have to wear in real estate. One is the real estate agent hat, and one is an entrepreneurial hat. And the truth is most agents wear the one hat really well, which is being a realtor, but they don't wear the entrepreneurial hat very well. So for me, coming into this space, I actually worked 2 years in the consulting world around real estate. So I understood technology. I understood, you know, what realtors were using to generate leads. I had a really good sense of conversion strategies. So I'd actually consulted realtors prior to getting into the business. I just had never built it myself. And I started thinking, you know what, I could do this. You know, I know how to do this. So I'm going to go prove all the things that I've been coaching and training to. I'm actually going to go prove that it works myself. So I'm going to go build the business. So I was very deliberate. My focus was I was going to build a business that I could exit out of in 5 years. Now, that's not an easy task by any means, you know, and certainly there was not a lot of balance in those first couple years. And if I could go back in time, there's probably things I'd do slightly different, like spending a little more time with my family, making, you know, family meals more of a priority. And I'll be the first to admit the first 2 years, I really didn't do that. And that did have an impact on my relationship with my family and my kids. But luckily, you know, the last 2.5 years, I put a lot more focus there. I take weekends off now. I've been doing that for 1.5 years, you know, so I have more of a balanced life. And the crazy part is my income has stayed high, which is great. A lot of people think if you pull back and become more balanced, that it's going to equate to less money. And the truth is I've been able to continue to maintain a healthy income by having more systems and balance and really taking advantage of some of the leverage that I built into my business.
That's awesome. I look forward to hearing about that.
Yeah. I was going to say one of the questions I had for you, and I know the answer, but most people don't. How did you get into real estate? Like, I mean, you briefly touched on it there, but what were you doing before?
So for a couple of years there, I was doing real estate consulting, so selling websites and marketing services to realtors. I got really frustrated with hearing realtors say that internet leads suck, and not knowing how to actually create a return on investment from the internet. So I would learn and educate myself so that I could teach them off the side of my desk to do that. Prior to that, I was in the banking world for 11 years. I was a bank manager for 7 of those years. So I had a lot of experience building culture and teams. I just never had risked my own capital, right? I had the benefit of having a nice salary, the golden handcuffs every month, and that was great. But I knew that there was so much more that I hadn't tapped into, and I felt like I was settling for a long time. And it wasn't until life backed me into a corner that I really got to see what I was made of. And to be honest with you, adversity probably is one of the best things that happened to me, because it allowed me to really dig deep and to go after things that maybe I'd held myself back because I had those golden handcuffs for years.
So when you started, okay, so let's walk through. You've now been, let's say, so 2015, 5 years basically you've been in.
Yeah.
Walk me through 4.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so walk me through how the transactions have increased. So like your first year in production, what were you looking at?
So my first year, I remember it was like 676,000 GCI that I had personally done. And then I had brought an agent in about halfway through the year, and I think they had done about 76,000 GCI for that 7 or 6 months or whatever. So I was just below the 750 mark. I think I missed 750. And for anybody that's a Remaxer, what I was going for was Titan Club, which is 750,000 GCI. So I just missed that in my first year. So I did achieve chairman's, which people told me was a good accomplishment in that first year, but I missed it. By year 2, my personal GCI was 1.167 million. And I had achieved diamond, which was one of my goals. And the cool thing is I had helped other agents become very successful. I had one agent who did 71 sales in his first 12 months. I had another agent she did 49 sales in her first 12 months as well on the team. So not only had I financially improved myself, I'd helped others do the same thing. And I'd created a system and a model that basically allowed agents to come in and learn what actually works in real estate, and basically allowed them to fast track their career. So I was really proud of the fact that it wasn't just me uplifting myself, but I was also helping change the lives of people around me. By year 3, my GCI had jumped up to, I think, 1.276 or something like that. And then last year, I think I was around the 1.1 million GCI mark, just under that maybe. And I exited production in June of last year. So, yeah.
That's bananas.
Big numbers.
Right. Watching Randy's face during that whole thing was actually pretty comical on my behalf. You were talking, just watching his eyes grow like dinner plates.
Yeah,
and the people ask you like, oh, what was your net or whatever, right? Because everybody, when you talk big gross, and look, there's a lot of people that have big grosses. My net is between 40 and 42 cents on the dollar. And then with me stepping out of production last year, I'm sure that'll probably be, once I do, finish my taxes, it'll probably be around, I'd say 28 to 32 cents on the dollar.
Yeah. Still though, that when you really break it down, that's still pretty darn good. I mean, those numbers are
happy
great.
with it. I mean, I'm the kind of person, like, I don't need yachts and airplanes and, like Brett knows that about me. I'm
like Brett needs those things.
Yeah. Like I don't need a lot of that stuff. Right. So like for me, I live well within my means, and I'm really big into investing in other people. And so it's been a lot of fun creating new business lines this last year. Just the freedom you get when you do exit production and you can work on your business and then start creating other businesses. It creates a whole world of new opportunities.
Right. I think it's cool because I know the details of your team, but I have to ask you, when you to be able to step outside of your business, you have to have a team that runs very, very well independently of you being there. Talk to me a little bit about how you started and built your team.
Sure. So my first hire getting into the business, now this is where people probably looking back think I was a bit crazy, but for me it made sense. I hired an assistant 3 weeks into the game. I was able to get someone who had just come off a maternity leave, had 8 years of experience working with in real estate, who had a lot of knowledge that I didn't have at the time. And I was just like, this is a smart investment for me. So I started off by making her a job offer that was part-time, and then within 3 months, I was like, look, I want you full time. And, I was able to bring her on full time, and she's been a full time business partner since. And she helped me a lot because what I was able to do is, delegate $20 an hour tasks off my plate so that I could focus on higher income producing tasks like selling real estate, market evaluations, training, mentoring, bringing on other agents. So for me, it just made so much sense. I'm like, look, I can do $500 an hour selling real estate, or I can do tasks that are $20 an hour that I'm not even good at anyways. Cause administration has never been my strong suit. You'll never get a report back from anybody that I've ever worked for that Jason is the most organized person that you're going to find. You're going to get Jason's incredible at building relationships, systems. That's what he does really, really well. He's good with people. So for me, I spend 90% of my time working in my strengths, which has allowed me to leverage. My next hire was 4 months into the business. I hired what we call it a client care manager. You would call it an ISA, an inside sales agent in the industry. I just don't like the name inside sales agent, so I came up with client care manager. But I used that as a mentoring program where they could come in, learn prospecting, learn the things that actually work in real estate, learn the dialogues, use that as a place where they could be teeing up opportunities for me so that I could be working with more qualified buyers and sellers. And then, by the time they were done, 90 days to 120 days in that program, they would be ready to be licensed agents in the field and would already have a lot of momentum in a pipeline. So I did that with two different people.
Let me ask you real quick, Jason. I think a barrier to a lot of people when it comes to building a team is finding the right person. So it sounds like you found two great individuals right off the bat. How did you recruit? Where did you find them?
So honestly, some of my best hires are working my sphere of influence and my network, right? So you start talking to people in the space in real estate, you start talking to other assistants, you start talking to other agents, you start working your friends list. I'm big on finding the right personality fit. I believe you can train skills, but you can't train attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And too many people make hiring decisions just based on somebody's experience. And truthfully, I'll take somebody that has no experience, but has a great attitude, mindset, and drive, and I can turn them into absolute sales assassins where they'll do exceptionally well. So for me, attitude's always been a bigger determiner of success than experience.
I think that's so huge because I think
Yeah.
so many people focus so much on the right person because they have experience. I'm with you, man. I'm the same way. I love people with a good, a positive attitude, and if you have a good positive attitude, you can train anything. And those people generally are the type of person that's going to put a positive foot forward, and they're going to want to succeed because of that positivity and that attitude. I couldn't agree more with that.
And one of the traps you fall into when you hire someone with so much experience is they got that experience and that coaching from someone else who may do it differently than you. So they may come into your business with tons of bad habits that you have to unteach before you can reteach your successful habits. So finding the right attitude just is imperative.
Well, 100%. And the other thing too, it's important to have a strong mastermind group as well around you. So for me, Brett has become a good friend of mine, and I had other people that we masterminded with that we've all learned and push each other on. And what you start realizing is there's nobody that has this whole thing figured out. There's people that'll make you think that they have it all figured out, but nobody does, right? Like we all have, we're all at different levels in this process, but there's always things that we can level up on and things that we can improve on. Brett and I, we worked really well together because we see things from completely different lenses, right? Brett's more of your analytical engineer type where he's really curious like how systems work and how things are built, whereas I'm more curious why people think the way that they do and why they behave the way that they do. So for me, building teams and culture was something that I brought to the table. And Brett was like, hey man, here's some ways that you can really leverage technology in different areas. And so him and I, were able to mastermind and push each other. And, I remember with Brett, he was one of those guys that was selling 1 million houses, but had zero balance in the beginning. It was crazy. He was just like, yeah, man, I'm selling like all these houses and I'm working 7 days a week. And, I'm like, oh, how's that going for you? He didn't really have a plan. He just kind of was selling a whole bunch of houses and making a whole bunch of money. And then it's like, okay, well, if you don't create systems and an actual plan with people around you, you're going to be stuck in this hamster wheel forever. And I think you battled with that for a little while, didn't you, Brett?
Yeah. Oh, that was dude. There were days when I honestly don't remember. I don't remember because I was on so little sleep. It was like, am I on Wednesday? People were like, dude, you're on Friday. It's like, where did all those days go?
Yeah. I used to bug you, Brad. I used to say, look, man, you're too smart for your own good. The problem is like the smartest people are some of the dumbest people sometimes. And the reason I say that is like being really smart where you can do and learn about a lot of different things doesn't make you very efficient. In fact, if anything, it probably does the opposite. And so that was Brett. He knew a lot about everything and he was literally trying to do everything himself. And I was just like, man, I got tired watching you.
It was pretty hard.
You bring up a great point that Brett had all these systems and he's very smart. So he was able to sell a lot. He was able to scale because of the systems he had in place. But part of his system was him, right? He didn't have other people. So you have to have the systems to scale and then the people to run the systems. Otherwise, you're going to run yourself silly like Brett ended up doing.
You're only as good as your people, right? I mean, you could have 1 million at bats, but if you're like just going from one job to the next job and you're just constantly like overrun and overwhelmed, it's not going to be a fun career for you. You could have all the money in the world, but it won't bring happiness. I mean, I have coaching students that easily make $1 million every year in their business, but they have no balance. What are they hiring me to do? To help them create systems and balance and infrastructure. They hired out of necessity, but they'd never hired with an actual plan. They never thought about, hey, am I putting the right person in the right role? A lot of people, again, if you don't have that entrepreneurial mindset, you don't really understand the importance of that. I mean, if you're going to put somebody who's extroverted, loves people, and is like energized for that, and you're going to put them in an administrative role where they literally don't talk to anybody all day and they have to sit there and look at a screen and try and organize things, and you expect them to be successful, you got another thing coming. You've made a bad hire in the sense that you didn't put people in the right role. Once you start putting people to their strengths, it's unbelievable what can happen in your business. And that was one of the things that I'm very grateful for, is that I was able to make some really good hires early on, and I treated them like my business partners. In fact, they are business partners in my coaching company now. I gave away 45% of the equity of my coaching company to a lot of the people that work with me because they've been instrumental in us building this up. And I want to make sure that they get the fruits of our labor into the future. So that's been a lot of fun, is helping create new income streams to support the people that help me basically come from a place of, hey, I was broke 4.5 years ago to, where I've been able to build a 7-figure net worth for myself now, which I'm very blessed and grateful for.
I have to ask, because we're talking about business partners. I want to know, I want you to talk about your client care coordinators and their role in the team, because it's so funny. There's so many people that are like, I want an ISA. So they hire someone generally out of country, and then 2 months later they hate it, and that person's not doing what they wanted them to do. So talk about that a little bit. How did you do your client care program and run their role through me?
Yeah, so I use client care as a training ground for our first 2 agents, and they're our 2 most successful agents right out of the gate. They went through that client care program. Then I was lucky to find Jamie Wicks, who's one of my business partners, and Joe Langdon, another one of my business partners, 2 great guys that I've known for a long time, and created basically a role where they can earn great money. They both make healthy 6-figure income. Be a part of the system and a team, but also have a couple days off consecutively. So it was a role that was conducive to them having a little bit more balance in a family life. And, you got to understand, not everybody's motivated by by working 7 days a week. There's other people that want to be able to have a little bit more freedom and balance in their lives. And so I was able to create that with the role that we did. The nice thing is we had a 7-day week. We have 7-day week coverage for any leads that come in, any inquiries we have. So Jamie and Joe and our inside sales agent team are able to cover each other, but they're able to take 2 consecutive days off a week, which is really a nice blessing for them to have a family. And that's something that, you know, for a lot of realtors who don't have a system to work within, they don't have that luxury. They're just constantly on a hamster wheel.
Talk to me about how those guys are paid, because I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people need to hear how you're paying them, because it is, yeah. Tell me about their pay structure.
Sure. Yeah. So originally when we started, so their pay structure would be a set salary each month, and then they would get a percentage of deals. Now they're all licensed. So one of the things with me is my inside sales agents or client care managers are licensed. So just so we're clear about that, very, very important. There's very strict regulations around that. And so I'm a big believer in having only licensed agents doing sales calls and prospecting and that sort of stuff. So that's a big thing for us. But they get a base salary. They get 10% on any buy deals that are set up. We have, unfortunately, in our part of the world, we have some of the worst margins, believe it or not, in North America. So on the listing side, they get $500 on a listing. The other thing too, though, is there's different tier levels that they can achieve. And based on them achieving that, there's annual bonuses that I've paid them out, and they've earned as much as $25,000 each in some years based on company performance, how their team is run. Now with the evolution of, you know, me being out of production, starting a coaching company, they have shares in that coaching company. They now have another income stream that they're gaining from that coaching company, plus any future bonuses and stuff that's going to come from that too. So we're about to go through our first year end here, which is exciting. So for me, it's really cool to be able to help them create some other income streams, opening up some coaching opportunities for our agents. Obviously with COVID, that's sort of slowed that down for the very short term, but we're looking to ramp that back up soon. But, you know, people that have been in our systems and working with us, you know, it's really cool for them to have other income opportunities. Me stepping out of production also creates a lot of sales opportunities for our agents that they're benefiting from. So yeah, it's for me, it's a lot of fun being the rainmaker at this point.
I bet. I think the coolest thing that you and I have ever talked about, and I think, you know, when we talk about systems and we talk about how you came into the business and the plan you had when you came into the business, what Jason does that I think is so cool is he has what's called his 3 pillars of business. And I want you to talk about your 3 pillars of business, because I think what a lot of people do is they come into the business and they just like try to just carpet bomb the industry and just spend everywhere. And if you looked at my numbers when I first got into the industry before I met Jason, I was a carpet bomber. I would literally go out and be like, all right, what sticks? And just spend. Jason came in and had 3 pillars of his business. Tell us about that so we can kind of tell the differences here.
Sure. Yeah. So the 3-pillar approach was based on observing realtors for a long time and being like, look, what's the one thing that every realtor seems to have? And it was called shiny object syndrome. Every realtor wants to find some new secret formula that's going to give them an edge over somebody else. And so they waste a lot of time and money trying to look for these new things. So what I didn't want to do is be distracted. So I picked 3 pillars right from the beginning. I was like, these are the 3 areas that any business decision that I run when it comes to marketing dollars is going to be run through these 3 pillars. If it supports the 3 pillars, I'll do it. If it doesn't, I won't. So my 3 pillars were internet leads. What I loved about internet leads is I knew that I could get a predictable amount of opportunities to talk to buyers and sellers every single day, every single week, every single month. That gave me a tremendous amount of confidence. I didn't have to go door knock a neighborhood. I didn't have to circle prospect a neighborhood. I didn't have to go and grind it out with FSBOs and expireds. I had a predictable amount of opportunities of people that are actively looking at real estate in my market areas. You know, like for people to not really grasp the value and importance of that, to me is a huge missed opportunity. 92% of home buyers and sellers start on the internet. So for us to not have a marketing plan to really draw that traffic in is a huge mistake, in my opinion. The second pillar was social media, and how I wanted to use social media was twofold. One was lead generation, but 2 was for branding and mind share. I wanted to put out great content. I wanted people to see luxury marketing standards. I wanted to be an ambassador for our community by really showcasing businesses and areas. So I really got heavily focused on creating content. That allowed me to be sort of a first to market in my area, to really be the guy that was doing social media, which really helped us fast track our results. The third pillar that I focused on was our repeat and referral business. I believed if you created a world-class service experience, that you went above and beyond for people and you created great follow-up systems with them, that you would be able to grow your repeat and referral business. And so for me, I put a lot of focus on that. I created a referral program and an aftercare system that I mentor and coach a lot of our students to do. Those are the three pillars that I still run with today. And my thought is like, until I get mastery in those three areas, why do I need to kind of diversify from it? Now, maybe I'm ready for a fourth pillar. And if we didn't have some of the volatility that we've had this year, maybe I would add a fourth pillar right now. But, we've been able to build a very good business with those three pillars, but we're constantly tweaking. Some of the algorithms aren't quite the same as they were with Facebook and things like that. So you have to be prepared to adapt. And that's why it's also important to have multiple pillars. So some months you might have pillars that are going to support you more than others. And the key is to have that diversity and consistency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes I'm so glad that you covered that, because I think so many agents come into this industry, myself included. I came in and I just went, shiny object syndrome. How can I get in front of as many people as I can? And I think the problem is, when a lot of agents get into the industry, they have all these really great ideas. Like, they have the idea of, I'm going to do all these things and I'm going to be different. And I think the problem is, people don't sit down and actually outline how they're going to attack that. There's no uniform plan of hitting all of that. I know, because I was a total victim of that. And I don't want to use the word victim. It was I did it to myself. I came in without a plan. I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't create the execution plan that I needed. And I paid for that. I really did. In the long run, I paid dearly for that, in both time and money. I wasted a boatload of money.
Hundreds of thousands.
100 easily. Yeah. And it's so funny, because when you look back at that, you're like, God, if I had come in with a plan, I probably would have done a lot better than I did. Especially in the beginning. In the beginning, it was really bad. And then I think after you and I chatted for a while, it was like, whoa, yeah. I still have shiny object syndrome, but it's not what it was. And how bad it was.
Yeah.
There was a conversation, Jason. What's that?
And I've been like kind of the opposite of that. I'm like, look,
yeah,
I don't want to tinker with too many things, because, every time you do that, for me, it just takes me off of my focus area and my strengths. I'm not great at when it comes to, building out websites and stuff like that. That's just not what I do. I know where to invest for great websites.
Yep.
Amazing companies out there that do great technology, like Chime, for example, is a really good one. They really put some amazing content, have tons of features. But the truth is, Brett, I don't have all the time to learn all those features.
That's exactly it.
A guy like you can't get enough of it. You're like, what? There's 200 different capabilities this thing has. Well, I'm going to find out if there's 205. And I just don't, my brain doesn't work like that.
No, you have a very strategic approach, and I think that's reassuring to a lot of agents that don't have that want to come in with a plan, that don't want to take on 205 different technologies. They want to stick with a plan and make it work. And I think it's cool, because I think a lot of agents feel they have to come in with let me just carpet bomb everything and just spend all this money. And you came in very strategically. And I think it's a huge reassurance, because look at what you did. You exited in 3.5 years. That's super impressive. And you came in with a plan. So I think that's, if anything, people should be taking notes right now, saying like, how do I create my plan? And anyways, we'll get to that in a minute, because I am going to ask you that question. But right now,
Sure.
One of the things that I love, and I subscribe to your Facebook page. Like, I still get notifications. So you're one of the few that I still follow, because the content that you create is amazing. Specifically, the deck video that you did.
Gosh.
Dude, to this day, even when I did a replay on that, I still die laughing at that. And I think a lot of people will watch that and be like, no, he didn't did he really publish that? And the truth is, I know you and you're a funny dude and you're letting yourself out and just letting yourself be who you are. You do a lot with video. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, since I've exited production, I probably haven't done as much content as I should. It's something that we're working as a team, and I'm really trying to get my team involved in doing more content. But for the first 3.5 years, I mean, I was doing a ton of content. So initially it was 2 videos a month, put them out on social media and put them out to your database, helpful tip videos. The editing wasn't the most amazing. I found somebody that was reasonably priced, but I was consistent with it.
Yeah.
By year 2, I was like, hey, I need to up the production level. So I found another company that could make a more aesthetically pleasing content. I started thinking, okay, what's the standard when it comes to a marketing video for a listing, and how do I raise it? And so I created this whole narrated lifestyle video that I would do with every listing. So every single listing gets treated like a luxury listing.
Yeah.
And there's branding. So you get to see my personality. So I get to build my mind share, my brand, but also get to showcase my client's asset. All their friends and family would know who their agent was. So I thought it was kind of a brilliant concept. So I wanted to be kind of the leader in that. So I was able to start doing that. Now, all my competition is doing that, but that's okay, because as you know, with me, and we've debated this before, Brett, I really do believe in, the whole abundance thing and not being a person of scarcity. It's okay. Look, if your competitors are going to learn some of your secrets, it's just going to raise the bar, which means you have to be prepared to raise your skill level to overcome that. And the better we do as an industry, I think the better it is from a consumer standpoint, because one of the things that we're battling as agents is we're not viewed upon in the best light by the average consumer, because they just don't see our skills and our worth. But the truth is there is a small percentage of us that really do treat this like a very professional practice and are looking to really bring a lot of value for the money that people are paying for our services. And so if I can be a leader in pushing the envelope, that's always been sort of my focus area.
Yeah,
there's a beautiful irony to, just simple comment, there's a beautiful irony to the better you do your job as a realtor, the less involved the client is. So they think that you have done less because they did less, right? But the better experience or the less they have to do means you did a better job. So it's tough.
It's truly, I mean, it's that you and I have debated this, and it's funny because I was very much a very closed person when it came to how I was doing what I was doing, and I was not of the same mindset that Jason was for a very, very long time. It's actually because of him that we are doing this kind of show, so we can take this information and share this with as many people as we can, because it's lifting the whole industry up as a whole. And even though I am completely out of the industry, it's good to see other agents that are doing exactly what you're doing. And because of you, I mean, this show is a result of Jason and I debating for years. But he basically helped me see the light, which is the more we can share, the more abundance we can have, the better we all do, and the longer our industry is all here. And so the people that are trying to hold that all tight and guard their secrets, that's great that you're doing that, but I think long term it's going to hurt you in the end. And it took me a very long time to figure that out. So thank you, Jason, for actually getting me to see the light and share this kind of stuff.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, man. I'm glad that I was able to, make a positive impact on you seeing it a little bit differently, and the contribution and like what you have to offer the world is amazing. There's so much value that people can get from what you're putting out there that it would be a shame if you didn't spread the message of the things that you've learned and what you understand. You have an amazing way to look at an opportunity and how to create a system around it, so I've learned a lot from you over the years too. And again, it's this great synergy that I think we have, right? Because we look at things from the complete opposite angle, which creates some friction at times because it creates for a healthy debate. But at the end of the day, there's always a mutual respect there. And it's just like, hey, I can learn a lot from this guy. And you know, if you've learned one or two things from me, I mean, I'm humbled. So thank you.
Oh, I've learned a boatload from you. I do have to ask, like, and I think this might sum up my questions for you. What would be your advice for someone brand new, totally new to the industry? Like they're taking their test right now. I'm going to use Randy's girlfriend right now as an example, because she's literally taking the test like right now. So if you were to have to give advice to someone that is brand new in the industry or just about to get in the industry, or just someone who's looking to make a significant change in their business, like what is your advice for that person?
Well, I'm going to keep it simple. Okay. This is a contact sport. Okay. Just like football, this is a contact sport. The more people that you can talk to and connect with, the more opportunities you have. We're very lucky. We have a service we offer, which is real estate. Well, everybody needs a home, whether you're renting or you own, you generally need a home and a roof over your head. So that creates opportunity in any market. Now, what I will say is this: figure out how to get your list compiled into a CRM system. So all the people that you know, I don't care if you haven't talked to them in 30 years, if you have a name and a phone number or an email or something, put it in your CRM system. Start creating your list now. Then start creating a plan where you contact those people and you just check in on them. How have you been? We haven't talked in 20 years. What's new and exciting in your life? Right? Start the conversation, get that going. They're going to get curious about you when you're curious about them. Next thing you know, well, what's new with you? Well, you know what? I'm doing real estate. I'm super passionate about it. I've had lots of friends and family asking me questions about the market. And as you know, it's a little volatile right now. So people are having concerns. What questions do you have about real estate right now? I'd be happy to help. There's a simple way. If you just immediately right now, if you want to learn how to create a couple deals today, go to your list on Facebook and start having a conversation, check in on people, and then ask them that question. By the way, a lot of my friends and family have been asking me about real estate lately just because there's some uncertainty and some volatility. I'm curious, what questions do you have that I can answer? It opens the door. I did this with one of my students over the weekend. She booked a listing appointment and had a buyer consultation set up from just doing that, working people in her list. Come from
Beautiful.
a place of service, right? So that'd be number one, is create an opportunity for yourself where you have a CRM system and you've got leads coming in. Figure out what your pillars are. You know, if you're going to be somebody that's going to be doing open houses, are you going to be door knocking? Are you going to be doing internet leads? Are you working your sphere of influence? You need to know where your business comes from.
That's awesome. That's about as easy as it gets. And if people don't take action on that, you literally just gave them an actionable item that if they were to do that, they would likely see an increase and at least an uptick in business, if not actually get a listing or a buyer appointment. That's absolutely brilliant.
Don't be a well-kept secret.
What's that?
Don't be a well-kept secret. Don't be a secret agent, right? If people don't know that you're practicing real estate and that you can come from a place of value and that you've got skills and information that you can provide, well, guess what? They're not going to call you.
Right.
It's a mind share thing, right? So the reason why you put content out there, the reason why you do the luxury marketing and you're consistent with the things that you do is so that you can gain some mind share so you can get more at-bats. Yep. And I call it at-bats. Nobody cares that you have 100% conversion rate on all listing appointments that you go on, because the truth is, if you have 100% conversion on the listing appointments you're going on, you're probably not going on enough listing appointments.
Mm-hmm.
So put yourself out there where you're going to be meeting strangers or people that you don't know that well. And that's the key to building business quickly, is like meeting new people. If you're just going to the same 20 people that you know every single month, well, guess what? You're very limited on your upside. But if you can start adding 20 people every single month to your database, 50, 100, you're going to gain momentum. And next thing you know, you're going to have a bigger distribution channel that you can sell to.
It's truly amazing that you phrased it that way, because there are so few people that are willing to step outside the box a little bit, even just a foot outside the box, and just do something that the other people are not willing to do. It sets people apart. Most people are not willing to pick up the phone and just call people. Most people are not willing to just hop on Facebook and check in on people, because they're afraid of what that person will say or think of them. And yet at the end of the year, they look at their book of business, and those people that they should have reached out to listed or bought with somebody else. And they were like, well, why did they do that? Well, they did that because you were a secret agent. And I love that you said that. I mean, it's basically advice. Don't be a secret agent. I love that.
You just need to get more at bats. You need
Yeah.
to be an auction. So figure out a way to make yourself an auction. Come from a place of service. I'm a big fan of the book, The Go-Giver. Read that book. Follow those philosophies where you genuinely serve and help other people without expecting anything in return. Just have that mindset where you're coming from a place of value, and it'll transform your life, honestly, if you can really get behind those principles and be that way.
That is a great book, by the way. Randy, if you haven't read that book, read that book. It's really, really good. Yeah, put it on your list. It's a really good book. Anybody watching it, that is a great. Jason got me to read that book. Completely changed my outlook on a lot of things. Yeah, Jason, thanks for that. I have taken advantage of that book myself. Randy, do you have any follow-up questions? Do you have any questions at all? Now is your time to pick his brain too.
Yeah, just circling back through some of the things we talked about. I think one of the concerns or fears that team leaders or top producers have is, if I exit production, I will lose production. And it doesn't sound like you're really suffering that from that. Maybe a deal or two, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it. Could you go through that transition process and how to get over that fear?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a really good question, by the way. So kudos to you for asking good questions. That's probably why your show is doing well and people are interested in it. So here's the thing. Before I was exiting production, I had some gaps that I needed to fill. I need to really make sure I had a documented buyer process. I needed to have a documented listing process. I needed to have a listing maintenance system and process in play. I had to make sure that everything that I did, I had mapped out so that I can train and plug somebody else in to do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. And I had to invest time in developing some of my team members' skills and helping them raise their talents. And I still spend a lot of my time doing that today. But I needed to trust the people and the systems that I had created. And that's scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It's tough. But once you make a commitment to stick to your plan, you may lose the odd deal here and there, but you have to just stay convicted in the fact that, hey, you're not in production. Now, do I still do the occasional deal here and there? I do, because I love it. There is still an element to this business that I really enjoy. So, I'll take the odd listing here and there just to keep myself in the game, because I do enjoy it. But 98% of the production I was doing before, I have my team manage and handle. But I do keep the occasional deal just because it's fun. I don't work with any buyers, though. I haven't worked with any buyers in over 2 years. And that was a commitment that I made a couple of years ago, that I would move away from that and be just a listing agent for our team. And then my next progression would be to step out of production and work on the business.
What you just said reminded me of another thing that a really smart agent told me. And he said to me that if you are the team leader or the broker or whomever, and you walk outside today and get hit by a bus and your business falls to shambles because you kept everything in your head instead of taking that tribal knowledge out and putting it into a business, if your business can't run after you get hit by a bus, then you don't really have a business. You have a profitable hobby.
That's a good point, and I call it the Coke truck. If you're to walk out and get hit by the Coke truck today, do you still have a business? And for most agents, the answer is no. Even some of the highest producing agents out there, there's some really great people out there that I respect and I look up to, and I'm like, wow, you've done a really good job. But the truth is, if they get hit by a Coke truck tomorrow, their business is gone. There's a really smart guy that Ricky Caruth, I watch his stuff, and he's got some really interesting things that he does. Great guy. But again, I think, man, I wish I could work with you, because, I could help you systemize your business so that if you do get hit by the Coke truck, all that work that you've put in isn't gone. Because the truth is, without systems and a plan, within 6 months, most people are obsolete if you fall out of the business.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is a general question I think you might get a lot as a coach, or maybe it's an issue you battle a lot as a coach. It sounds like you work with top producers. So when you're working with these people and you tell them, I had to take time out of my business to create these systems, and they come back to you and say, I don't have time. What is your solution for I don't have time?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the power of the mastermind. So you don't need to know how to do everything. You just need to have great people that do specific areas really well. So for me, I have a strong admin team that bring a lot of skill sets in areas that I'm weak in. I have an amazing inside sales agent team that bring a lot of strength in areas that I'm really strong in myself, but I don't have enough hours in a day to be able to do that. So I have people that have those skill sets, and maybe they're even better than me at this point in those areas that I work with. So the power of the mastermind is assemble a team around you where you have expertise in
Mhm.
one area that you can draw from people. I don't
So
think
like,
anybody can do everything exceptionally well.
so like your admin team, your first hire, you said she had 8 years experience in this business. So she probably knew a buyer's guide very well, or
Yeah.
transaction.
So what I was able to do with our admin team as we built it up, we have a team of 3 now to manage our 2 companies. Basically, I was able to say, look, here's what I need, here's what I envision, and then I challenged them to create it, and we'd set deadlines and timelines, and I kept challenging. Okay, this is what I need. Let's create it, and then we'd go in the lab and they'd start creating. Do the same thing with our inside sales agent team. Here's what we need to do. How do we increase our conversion even 0.5%? 1%? What can we do to just continually improve? So I push on the areas that I feel like, okay, let's figure out how can we get more from this area. So as a leader, your job is to get the best out of your people. You have to have the vision. So for me, I can see where we're going and I have the foresight. The key is to slow down and get everybody else around me to kind of be on the same page. And so it's just finding great people that are organized and strong in certain areas that I'm not, truthfully,
Uh,
and challenge them to create what you need.
yeah, I mean, if you were the smartest guy in the room, you probably wouldn't have built as great of a business as you did.
Trust me, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I never want to be the smartest guy in the room. But
I was just going to say that Jason and I have the same mentality on that. You could put the 2 of us in a room together with 50 other people, and neither one of us are going to be the smartest people in the room, and we never want to be the smartest people in the room. I'm the same way with we never want to be the smartest people because you can't learn anything if you're the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, you gotta be able to sit back and listen and know what your gifts are, and then also know where your opportunities are. And at the end of the day, I'm blessed to know what my strengths are and my ability to kind of work with people to get the best out of them. And I don't look, I've made lots of mistakes. There's lots of things that I could do better, and I'm continually trying to be a better leader. But the one thing that I feel like I've done well is building great teams and seeing potential in people and having the ability to kind of see something that they don't even see yet, but have the foresight for saying, hey, here's a door, I'm going to help you walk through it, and it's going to create a lot of opportunity for you. And it's one of my favorite things to do is when that light bulb goes off and you start seeing people achieving greatness and doing things that they didn't even think were possible, but they just needed somebody that kind of believed in them and was willing to nudge them along and give them that push. So that's been a lot of fun for me.
Awesome. Jason, dude, thank you for hanging out with us today. I mean, is there anything else any parting thoughts that you would like to leave?
I just, dude, thank you for the opportunity to chat with you and your audience. And, again, there's so many great things that you're doing on the tech side, and some of the information that you have available is outstanding. Some of the technology partners that you've gone out of your way to work with, you guys are doing some amazing things. So thank you for that. And, if I can help anybody, if somebody's struggling with anything, please, feel free to reach out. We'd love to chat with you and provide some value. We've got a Sims Mastermind group page if anybody wants to be a part of that. We're trying to put some great content and value out there. And look, if anybody's serious about taking their business to another level and they want some business coaching, not just sales coaching, because we do both, it's a full package deal. But, I'd love to help you implement a business for yourself and help you, be able to be in a position where you have some freedom in your life in the future and have something tangible to show for all the hard work that you've put in. So if you do ever get hit by a Coke truck, your family can be left with some legacy.
I'm going to make sure all of those links, I'm going to make sure that your mastermind group and the links to your coaching program, I want to make sure those are going to be below this video. If you have any questions, Jason's contact information is going to be down there. Reach out to him. Seriously, the guy is wicked smart when it comes to building teams, building businesses, and helping people really realize where they fit in the business, which is really, I mean, believe it or not, Jason helped me more than you will ever know. So if you're even thinking about coaching, it's go to Jason.
I appreciate that so much.
My pleasure.
What can I
Thank
do for
you.
you, Brett? What can I do for you and your audience today? Anything that I can do?
Honestly, man, you've given so much in this. You really have. Randy, can you think of anything? Because I think the content you've given us is going to help so many people. You've given so much, and you always are giving. That's the thing. You always give. But I can't think of anything other than what you've given for our audience today.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks so much for taking some time to speak with us today. It was actionable intelligence that you gave us, and we appreciate it.
Yeah,
Cool.
Thanks, man. Appreciate everything like usual, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, and just remember, guys, a thought without action is nothing. It's just waste. So, you can read all the books in the world, but you got to actually implement. So if you get an idea, go and implement it. So put a plan around it and then actually do it. Don't just be one of those people that tries to make everything perfect, because it doesn't exist.
Yep.
You'll learn a lot more from doing than you do from just sitting back and overthinking and planning. So get yourself in a place of action orientation and try some things. Go skin your knees. The worst thing that'll happen is growth and learning. And that's a beautiful place to always be in.
Always. Dude, great parting thoughts. If you guys like seeing videos like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And we have these coming out once a month for you. Jason, thank you again. Appreciate it. Good chatting with you. And we'll talk soon. Randy, take care, bud.
Au revoir.